So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nandish Desai. I'm the co-founder of JagoInvestor.com, and with me I have Manish Chauhan, my partner. Uh, and we have today with us Mr. Nilesh Shah, who is the managing director and group partner of Kotak Asset Management, group president of Kotak Asset Management Company. So he has 25 years plus experience, and I'm really very happy to share that in a way I'm in this profession because of him, because I heard him years back in one of the some session was there in Mumbai, and I was new into this profession, and I heard him, and my conviction into equities and my conviction into this business itself got established in that session. So thank you so much, sir, for really inspiring us.
Thank you, Nandish.
And I was having this thought, on that day that यार ये गुजराती है, अगर ये कंपनी को मैनेज कर सकता है, मैं एक बिजनेस तो मैनेज कर ही लूंगा, so that was my exact thought, at that on that day. And sir, in this entire group, I'm sure you've seen more cycles of stock market than anyone in this group, and we are just here to learn from you, whatever best that we can, and we want to just make sure that this session puts the right kind of confidence into all those who are listening to this call right now. So their conviction into equities expands, their confidence as an equity investor expands, and they really get into this whole possibility of wealth creation, like the next 2 decades. What is it that is there for all of us, as an investor? So I'm going to hear this session as an investor, and I'm sure there are a lot of people having a lot of thoughts in their mind, so those things will get cleared. So let's get started, sir. Over to you. My first very basic thing is around the topic itself, like wealth creation in the next 2 decades. So what's your take on that?
Thank you, Nandish and Manish, for inviting me over here. Nandish, wealth creation can only happen if you work for it. See, तकदीर में जो है वो तो अपने आप आपको मिलेगा. So one can take a view that तकदीर से ज्यादा और वक्त से पहले किसी को कुछ नहीं मिलता. But my opinion is that if you do right karma, you can even change your luck. So for wealth creation, number one thing is to work for it. Now, there are many people who believe that money is not everything in life. Money is not important. You should not run after money. But I have always loved what Warren Buffett mentioned, that money is not everything in life. Money is not important. But make sure that you have made enough money before you make such statement. Absolutely. And frankly speaking, in our culture, Lakshmi Mata and Saraswati Mata both are worshipped together. Now, how does one create wealth? Over the years, I have seen wealth creation is all about the discipline. Discipline of doing regular investment. अपने में कहावत है, बूंद बूंद से सागर बनता है. Same thing, small amounts of money can create a bigger wealth. It is about long-term investment. Again, there is a proverb which says, "Utavare amba na pake." You can't grow mango in a hurry. You have to wait for 12 years. Same way, to make money, you have to give long-term view. And third is the asset allocation. The whole purpose of not putting all eggs in one basket is to ensure that you don't end up taking risks which you can't manage. Now, everyone can say that we should put 100% in equity because in the long term, equity will outperform everything. But the point is that will you be able to bear the volatility of equity? In March 20, you would get out of the market because of losses and you will lose the opportunity. So 3 things are critical. Regular investment, bund bund se sagar banta hai. Long-term investment, utavare amba na pake. And asset allocation, don't put all eggs in one basket. This 3 combo will create wealth for everyone.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So that was really very, very powerful. Now, see, I've received some questions. When we declared this event, we have received some questions from a lot of investors. So let me touch upon a few, which I found them to be interesting. Number one, we would like to know, sir, what's happening right now? Like, what's happening right now in the equity market? There are some who are confused. There are, so I'm talking about new investors, I'm talking about already who have been into it. I'm also referring to those who got out of the game, in when the COVID happened. So all kinds of investors. So now wherever they are, they are into the game, they're thinking to join, or wherever they are, what is happening in the equity market, and what is it that they can expect now?
So, Nandish, for any market to run, you require three things: sentiment, money, and fundamentals. Now, when your sentiment is down, like it was in March 20, one just couldn't go to buy in the market, even though it was the best time to buy. Very few people were able to do. So, invariably, our sentiment is linked right now to COVID-19. In second wave, April and May, we were fearful, we were afraid, we were dejected because of the death, destruction, agony around us. Now, fortunately for us, vaccination is going up, active cases are stabilizing, they are not coming down like before, but they are still stable. And barring certain pockets of India, all other places seems to be normalizing. Now, my feeling is that as long as third wave is not as ferocious as second wave, as long as vaccination goes up, as long as you and I can go and take a walk in the park, we can do our business, sentiments will remain positive. The second thing is money power. Now, retail and HNI has been buyers since March 20. Mutual funds, insurance, pension funds, they are buyers. Foreign portfolio investors also are they marginal buyers or marginal sellers? Put all these things together, market is well built. And it is likely to continue in the days to come. In fact, I see more allocation coming from foreigners as they saw what happened in China. China में जितनी भी बड़ी कंपनी थी, सबको एक-एक करके वो लोग काट रहे हैं. Now that revengeful action of government will push a lot of money to India. So our market should remain supported from a money point of view. But money and sentiment can change very fast. Sentiments को change होते एक दिन लगेगा. Money power भी बहुत जल्दी change हो जाएगा. So what we need is fundamentals. And this is where things are improving rapidly. To give you just quantitative data, June 21, NSE 500 companies profitability was 32,000 crore, rounded off. September 20, it became 1,70,000 crore, 6 times jump almost. Everyone thought this is one time, abhi aisa chalega nahi. December came 2,10,000 crore, March 21 came 2,11,000 crore, and June 21 is down, no doubt about it, because of April and May lockdown. But September 21, people are talking again at 2,25,000 crore. Now, if corporate profitability grows, then share prices will move higher. Stocks are slaves of earning power. Today, we are seeing Triveni Sangam in market of sentiments, liquidity, and fundamentals. Now, it doesn't mean that markets will continue to rise always. Markets will go up as well as down. It also doesn't mean that like last 1,000 points we saw in 28 days, next 1,000 points will come in 20 days. We don't know whether markets will continue to rise every day. Of course, there will be volatility, but there will be corrections and not a crash unless until one of this factor changes significantly.
Sure, sir. So that was insightful. One more question that I have is, see, a lot of investors, they want to know, like, whatever has happened in China, can we expect similar kind of things now in India? Do we have now like we are preferred now over China. So what kind of potential it has, in our economy now, going forward?
So Nandish bhai, what happened in China is a miracle. And I doubt if India will be able to do that. Why am I making that statement? I met 20 years back a Mongolian Chinese doctorate who was doing work in pharma, and one of the brokerage company brought him to India. He was very, very interesting. His mother and father live in Inner Mongolia, very harsh condition in a tent. This guy was supported by government, went for his doctorate in US and was working over there in cutting edge pharma research. And then he came to India with this brokerage company. And I asked him, like, what is your future plan? So he said, I will return to China in 2 years. I'll go to Inner Mongolia. And then whatever job is assigned to me by Chinese government, I will do it. And I said, why will you go back to China and Inner Mongolia? I mean, you are well set in New York. Why will you leave New York? So he said, if I don't go back to China, my parents will be executed. Now, we as India will never be able to do such things. That's only what China can do. You also hear stories about a Canadian telecom company which was at cutting edge of research in 2000. And China systematically targeted them for IPR. They put Chinese people over there who collected IPRs and came back to China. They hacked into their system and collected. I'll have to take this call, Nandish. Pankaj bhai. Hello.
Yeah, guys, we'll have to give time to Nilesh. He has got a call from PMO. So let's give him some time. Gaurav, do we have any other?
Yeah, so we have Mr. Pankaj Tibrewal with us.
Okay.
Who is the senior fund manager with Kotak Mutual Fund. Yeah.
Yeah, hi,
and
Pankaj. Welcome.
He has featured in the Best Fund Manager Award since multiple years, 2018, 19, 20, 21.
Awesome, awesome. So it's a privilege, like it's an opportunity for us to learn from Nilesh sir and from you, Pankaj sir. So thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
So let's continue with these questions, and once Nilesh sir is done with his call, maybe he can join back. So just taking the conversation forward, Pankaj sir, my view is, see, right now I feel that the recession and boom is together. Like it's a very strange kind of situation that we are into. So on one side, we have all these IPOs coming one after the another. We'll have a KTM IPO, and a lot of IPOs are now lined up one after the another. LIC will come up with something. Again, a huge liquidity will come in. And on the other side, from having 13 telecom companies, we now have only 2 options. And very soon, if there is only one option, then things will get very, very difficult for us. So what do you think? Like, what's happening on the economy front right now? Because we see the stock market is growing, but what about GDP? Like, I see a disconnect between GDP and where the stock markets are right now, the BSE and the Sensex. So how do you see that, sir? Like, will the GDP and market catch each other soon? Or if there's pain in the market, then how will it reflect, in the stock market?
So very good question, Nandish bhai. And let me give you and all the viewers out here some sense on what's happening. So, whatever you say about India, the opposite always holds true. Okay. And if you look at the Indian corporate scenario today, the good part, which let's discuss now what's happening on the good part, is that the listed corporate space, which is the formal sector, the top 500, the top 700, 800 companies, actually in the last 18 to 24 months have actually started gaining market share. And there are multiple reasons for that, because of the working capital issues which the smaller guys are facing, because of the GST compliance, because of so many other compliances which people are finding it difficult. So stock market is only reflected by the listed formal sector, okay? And that's actually doing extremely well, and COVID has been a blessing in disguise for all of them. The opposite is that the bottom 50% of the pyramid, which is the SME, which is the smaller trader or the micro segment, is actually facing the brunt, okay? And when you decode that, GDP is actually an aggregate of everything, right? So your bottom pyramid is having a problem, but the top 500,000 companies are gaining market share and are gaining it beautifully, and stock market is rejoicing on that. If you look at long time back, the linkage between stock market and GDP was broken long time back, a decade back. Let me give you some examples of it, okay? If you look at in NSE 500, financial services are roughly about 28-30% of the index value. But when you look at an actual GDP, gross value added, it's very small percentage. Similarly, in GDP, agri is 24-25%, but in markets, the component of agriculture is 2-3%, right? So when people talk about economy and people talk about markets, the linkage between both of them in terms of weightages of sectors, drivers or profit growth drivers have been broken long time back. So it will be wrong for you to just look at economy and say that market should also correct, because the bottom pyramid is under pain, their balance sheets are broken, but the top of the pyramid or the listed formal class is gaining, right? Let me give you one big theme which we are very positive. And over the next 5-10 years, we think a lot of money and wealth could be created out of that theme. That theme is called big getting bigger, strong getting strong. Okay. And let me give you some data points, which will be probably an eye-opener for all of you. So if you look at mortgages, which is the house lending, right? It's a commoditized business. But the top two guys in the NBFC space, in the housing finance companies, are incrementally 90% of the market share. Okay. The top 5 steel companies in the last 3 years incrementally are 70% of the market share. As high as a commodity business like banking, in the last 3 years, the top 6 banks are 70% of the loan growth market share. Similarly in cement, similarly in aviation, and similarly across sectors like tiles, mobiles, consumer durables, electronics, grocery, luggage, retailing, everywhere you are seeing the tail and the fringe players with a weaker balance sheet being moved out, and that market share shifting to the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys, right? And that's clearly visible in the market share data when we look at it. But don't get confused that big getting bigger, strong getting stronger means the only top 100 companies of India. We did an exercise which was very interesting. We looked at 101 market cap to 650th market cap, which is a universe of 550 companies, apart from the 100 companies which are large caps classified, right? And in that 550 universe, there are 200 companies which are market leaders in their own respect. Okay, so a tile company may be classified at mid cap as per SEBI definition of mid, small, large, but it's actually the leader in the space. Okay, so the point I'm trying to derive is that in every sector, the top 4-5 guys are gaining market share, and that market share has been shifted from either the unorganized, either the fringe player, or the tail of that sector. And I think this trend,
like the large will become a mega player kind of thing.
Absolutely, and this is the trend we are seeing because they have balance sheets, they have cash flows to support the working capital, and you have seen raw material prices like going crazy. Let me give you a small example, and a lot of people may be able to relate what I'm trying to say with this anecdotal example. So plywood is one sector where there's a lot of unorganized players. Yeah? You go to north, मतलब भरे पड़े हैं, मतलब छोटे दुकान खोल के plywood बना देते, right? Now there's a raw material which goes into plywood called melamine. Okay, that raw material was $600 say a year back. As we speak, that raw material is $2,500. 4 guna melamine बढ़ गया. And if you want to produce plywood as an unorganized, you need melamine, right? And for that, you need to pay upfront money to the supplier to source the raw material. And if 4 times your raw material price goes up, how would you get that funding? Either your bank or NBFC needs to fund you and they are tight in their belt, or you need to secure it from unorganized market to pay to the supplier. So I think what I am seeing is that raw material disruption also in the pricing has created a problem where the working capital has become a big issue. And the larger guys with good balance sheet and cash flows are able to gain that. And finally, दुकान में जिसका माल जाता है, उसका माल बिकता है. Because consumer wants a brand. Consumer wants a material at the shelf when he is going to shop. And if the unorganized is not there, the shopkeeper will sell the branded guy, right? So my sense is the way I am seeing things evolving is fantastic. Just before this call, I was on a Pepperfry call, the unlisted company, the furniture guy. And you will be shocked to know that the online furniture market, which was 2% just a year back, in 12 months has moved to 8 to 9%. Because during COVID, the unorganized, the carpenter, the small karkhana guys had a tough time. So my point is the big trend in India is one, this trend across sectors where we are seeing consolidation happening and the big getting bigger, strong getting stronger. And that's a mega theme, I think, which we are seeing play out in India for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for sharing the numbers and the view on this. Just to add to this, a lot of times I feel that companies like Flipkart and Amazon and Zomato, and so Zomato came up with the IPO. It was oversubscribed. I can also see like some funds, mutual funds, they've added Zomato to their portfolio also. Now, on one side, they are all loss making. They burn a lot of cash. They're not loss making. So let's say for example, Flipkart is in losses, and so they are not making money. On the other side, as you said, small merchants, they are also not making money. So then who is making money? So this system, this whole things looks like, it will burst sometime, because ultimately nobody is making money, but it's a game of valuations and keep on, expanding the game. So do you think it's more like a vicious circle that companies fall into, all these kinds of activities?
I think we all are concerned about the public market valuations, right? And we all get concerned seeing because what has happened in the past, right? But the real big bubble is getting created in the private markets when you look globally, right? A company talking about 3 billion suddenly in 1 year, they talk about 9 billion, 10 billion, and so on and so forth, right? We can't talk about company specific, but let me give you a flavor on how we think, okay? I think there's a paradigm shift happening across sectors, that's for sure, okay? And this paradigm shift, it could be of disruption across the board. It could be through EVs, which is decarbonization. It could be through multiple other things, which is e-commerce and so on and so forth, right? Now, what is happening in the public market space is a lot of companies who don't pivot their business model to a next new age technology will have a challenge on their terminal value, okay? Maybe after 8-10 years, because a large part of value of the stock price comes from terminal value. And if terminal value is challenged, you will have a problem in the valuations, okay? There, I think a large number of players in different sectors are coming up, okay? And the way we evaluate these companies, we are also new because in India public market, this is just the start of the private space getting listed. So we are also learning. But let me give you our thought process, which will help your listeners and viewers and yourself understand the thought process where we are coming from. The first thing which we look in a company which is calling so-called new age disruptive is that they should have a leadership position in the sector they are operating. That's the first tick mark and the question we ask ourselves. Does he has the right to win? Okay. Does he has a market share which will make sure that over a longer periods of time it's sustainable? The second thing we look at upon is today it may be a loss making, any company, okay? But at what point of time the inflection point comes in where every incremental subscriber or a customer flows to the bottom line? Simple terms में incremental cost economics क्या है? अगर incremental cost economics positive है, तो वो आज नहीं 2-3 साल 4 साल बाद पैसा बना देगा. अपने प्योर बिजनेस के टर्म्स में अगर आप पता करो तो always fixed cost used to be a sin, right? हम लोग अपने धंधे में जितना fixed cost कम करें वो अच्छा होता है, because cycles are so short and violent. But in a disruptive business model, fixed costs are actually good, because आपका एक fixed cost platform का create हो गया और आप subscriber add करते जाओ और every revenue will not have subsequent cost and it will flow down to the profit. So the crux of business models which will be successful will be incremental cost economics kya, or many of them in my view can become mega caps going forward. So these two checks, if one can do diligently, the incremental cost economics and the market leadership position, I think you can have a winner in your hand. And that is the philosophy we are using for evaluating a lot of companies which will come for IPO. Okay. Second thing which I want to leave your thought with viewers is that today, if you look at the IT index, right, it's about $420 billion. Add some new age businesses which got listed or probably were there in the past, another $25 billion. Okay, so you have a total of $440 billion of the entire IT index space today. Now, as per the public information available, the DRHP is filed or will be filed over the next 2-3 years. I think the incremental market cap could be $200 billion, right? So what you are talking about, जो 440 billion आज है, for the last 20 years जो हुआ, that 50% of that will be created over the next 3-4 years. So we as public market investors should be agile and humble enough to evaluate all the things which will come our way. We may reject a lot of them, but some of them can become mega caps going forward. So we should have an open mind and agile mind to evaluate, at least from a investment perspective. That's a flavor I just wanted to give you guys.
Sure, thank you so much, Pankaj. Manish, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that Mr. Pankaj, most of the people who are listening to this, they have this question that, all this is fine. Whatever you're talking about is more of technical and all, because so if they look at their wealth creation, a common man who is investing through stocks or mutual fund, most of them invest in mutual funds. What will be your advice to them? Because you are a fund manager, you work in this whole thing day and out. What are you seeing which you want to convey to them, that what should be their action item for the next 15 to 20 years? If they want to create massive wealth, what will be top 2-3 things which you want to communicate?
Don't bet against India. The first thing. Okay.
Okay.
I think time and again, people have been proved wrong that being over optimistic or over pessimistic in India doesn't work. Both of the scenarios. But being realistic in India works. And in my view, we have hit an inflection point. And if you talk about a decade or two, I think we are just starting off. I think the best is yet to come. Okay. We may get carried away by valuation in the very near term. But my sense is that if you bet against India, I think on the hindsight, you will probably repent or have a regret. Okay, that's one. Why I'm saying so. And with the caveat, knowing that prediction is dangerous and especially of the future. Okay, right? Nobody can predict, but we all can, try. Let's see what's happening today.
Yeah.
So it's become a one nation, right? So you have one Aadhaar card, you have one bank account, you have one mobile connection, you have one income tax, you have one GST tax. So it's a one India after a long time across the board, right? And this power of combination, or this combination, I think is a potent combination and a lethal combination. Okay. Let me tell you why. Let me give you small examples. If 2 years back, I would have come on this platform and told any of you that just based on one Aadhaar card, friends, India can vaccinate 65 crore people in 4 months' time. You all would have laughed on, right? The fact of the matter is the IT stack, digital stack is leading to that based on one Aadhaar card, we all are getting vaccinated within a minute. Okay. And the digital certificate comes on that.
Yeah.
Now think about the power of execution now, which lies with a common entrepreneur and with the government on executing any policy they want over a very short period of time, right? And this power can't be underestimated in my view, in the overall growth of the country. Okay, after a long time, we have got this power. That's one. The second thing, I think there are 2 or 3 themes which I am very positive on. I spoke about big getting bigger, but the next big trend which I am seeing, where we created the Narayan Murthy's of the world, the Nandan Nilekani's of the world in the 90s and the early 2000s, that creation will happen in the next decade across many sectors. Okay, let's look at classical example of a chemical sector. Okay, it's a large $1 trillion sector in the world. We had only 3% market share a few years back. The China pollution started, the China problem started, and then COVID hit. And every global guy, whether it be in pharma or agro, now wants to diversify their supply chain out of China. And Indian guys are getting out of it, right? Now look at the wealth creation which has happened in this sector over the last 3-5 years. I'm not saying that this is a recommendation. I'm just giving you an example and an anecdote example that this supply chain consolidation is real and happening in front of our eyes. And companies after companies, when I'm speaking to, the sense I am getting is that exports are picking up very significantly. The global majors are coming there and telling them, "Ki boss, set up operations in India." And if this on the execution, they can do it over the next 3-5 years. My senses are manufacturing, which has stagnated at about $400 billion over the last decade or so, right? वो 400 450 के बीच में stagnate हुआ हुआ है, which has not helped in job creation, which has not helped in the small ecosystem and other things, can triple in the next decade is my call. Okay, and I am seeing early signs of that revival happening. Okay, what is aiding that? I think after a long time, the PLI scheme, which government has introduced, could be a game changer. Okay, I am seeing that happening on electronic side. Okay, the government has introduced PLI. The licenses have been awarded. The Foxconn, the Westron, the Pegitron, all the 3 guys, including the Indian guys, have set up the shop in India. My sense is over the next 4-5 years, India will produce 75 crore to 80 crore handsets, which we can't believe. So we used to import. July was the first month we exported handset worth 4,500 crores, right? And this number over the next 3-4 years will look very large. So you will ask me, what is the value addition? अभी तो chip आता है, processor आता है, motor आता है, display आता है, camera आता है, सब assemble करते हो, आप बेच देते हो या export कर देते हो. My sense is that value addition, which is 14-15% today, will move to 30 to 40% in the next 3 to 4 years. And the sense I am getting is once the scale comes in, all these ancillary manufacturers of display, PCB board, motors, camera module, all will come and set up their shop in India. And we are seeing early signs of that. And if that electronic success can be replicated in API, chemicals, auto ancillary, EV battery, I think you will see a paradigm shift in manufacturing. So I think after a decade or so, just let me finish that. After a decade or so, I think this manufacturing theme and the entire revival of CapEx is looking to be real, unless we goof ourselves and we do something stupid, right? But the world is aspiring us that India should become the next supply chain hub for the world. Okay, if we do something stupid, it's something which we have to blame ourselves. But I think stars are aligned for the next decade, manufacturing to triple itself from $400 to say $1.2 billion. So that's one mega theme which I'm talking about. We spoke about digitalization as one mega theme again. Across the board, we are seeing disruptions happening. And the third part, which I think is the real estate residential revival. And I think after 7-8 years of subdued demand, we are seeing in every city, real estate being good. August data came out from Mumbai real estate. Everybody was shocked, right? That despite of no stamp duty cuts, you had the best month of August in many, many years. And there's an actual demand on residential real estate side. What it will do, once the big elephant rises, which is real estate, the 200 industries associated with it, whether it be cement, consumer durable, wires and cable, carpenters, adhesives, so many other industries, 200 industries get a flip on the demand side. And that creates an ecosystem momentum and a multiplier effect. So my sense is that the basic of the foundation has been laid down. And I think the best is yet to come in terms of growth. I'll maintain a balanced view on this. I will not be too positive because there are risks emerging also, because risk is on the geopolitical side. We are surrounded by neighbors who are hostile. So that's one risk we have to always keep in mind. There's a risk of unemployment, which we have to address at some point of time. 80 lakh graduates coming out of colleges every year. In 4 years, if we don't do anything, if we don't grow, there are 3.5, 4 crore graduates unemployed, which can lead to many other things, unrest and everything. So those challenges are there. But what I am trying to address is that if we execute well this time, the risk capital is there. There's enough momentum. Animal spirits among entrepreneurs is coming back. The unicorn in the digital world is looking very, very strong. And over a period of time, we can do a lot of things. That's the sense which I am getting for the next decade of India.
Okay.
Not looking at the near-term valuation, which may be a little stretched in the near term, that's fine.
So Pankaj, somewhere see our population was our weakness, but now it is our strength, and the world sees us as a huge market and not to expect. I think a lot of us, we are not even able to visualize how India will be next 10 or 15 or 20
Absolutely,
years.
absolutely,
We
absolutely.
can't visualize it right now, but it will be a very, very different zone. And I think we should not look at where market is right now. We should not look at anything and just be in the game fully.
I mean, 40% of the population below age of 20, 85% of the population below age of 50. This demographic, friends, will make us the youngest population for the next 50 years. This will be the largest market, largest single market on the planet for next 100 years.
Yeah.
Next 100 years, India will be the largest market on the planet. So I'm trying to say that look at slightly longer term picture. What we have missed out as Indians and investors is looking at very short term.
Yeah.
And in the short term, nobody can get it right. But if you look at some of the longer term themes, I think from 1990 till now, Nifty has given 13% CAGR. And you add some alpha to what the other guys may have done, 15 to 80% compounding is a fantastic number over a period of last 20, 25 years.
Yes.
And if growth picks up and fundamentals are right, why not we can aspire to be a much bigger market cap country?
So from what you
This is
just
exactly
said,
the point I was.
from what you just said, just want to, like, a lot of investors, they have this question of active versus passive funds. There's a lot of confusion around that. So Sensex is growing. A lot of investors have this doubt whether the active fund managers will be able to beat the benchmark or these index funds or not. So what's, sir, your view on that? Because you're managing a lot of funds right now.
See, people are taking clue from global markets, where in US, 30-40% of the active fund managers over longer periods have been able to beat the benchmark. Okay. If you look at our data, our country data, okay, in our sense, in our analysis, alpha is cyclical. Okay, the excess return which you make over benchmark is cyclical. Okay? 1 year back, we were all debating Twitter warriors, and everybody were coming on social media talking about large caps not creating alpha, right? Now, suddenly they have vanished because all large cap funds are beating the benchmark quite handsomely in the last 1.5 years, right? So the similar happened in mid caps in 2017, if you remember, and to a larger extent last year, where index went up by 100% and few of the guys gave 85, 90% and so on and so forth. But over a longer term, when you look at most of the funds, 80, 90% of them have been able to generate alpha, right? So the first point in our analysis is alpha is cyclical. Okay, it's not structurally that you're losing out, because in our view, still there is a lot of opportunity to find out good businesses, ride with them over a period of time, where their street is not discovered and they discover it at a later stage. So as professionals, fund managers, can we add that value to the investors is our endeavor. Okay, how much we succeed, not succeed is a different question. But I think over the next 5-10 years, I think our endeavor would be to make sure that we do the basic hygiene of at least generating alpha. There will be periods of 1 or 2 years where the fund or the category may not generate alpha. But if the philosophy is right, the guys are good, the franchise is good, they will come back. So my sense is, don't just compare with what West we saw and just have a same view out here. We are seeing that in the last 1.5 years, if you generated alpha, and over the last 5-10 years, suppose when I look at our funds, we have generated alpha across most of the funds, right? And the SIP alpha has been very, very good, right? So there is a value addition post expense which we have done to our investors, right? So I think look at alpha from more of a cyclical perspective rather than structural perspective. And in that, I think still the active has a role to play in India.
So the other question is, lot of investors, they are saying that why not we do direct stocks? Like last year, they've got, equity has done very well. And now a lot of people think that instead of me putting money into mutual funds, let me do an SIP into direct stocks. And there are so many platforms available now. So how do you see them? Like how do you view them?
There's nothing wrong. Okay. And with the Demat accounts, the number of Demat we are seeing, everybody is excited, right? But I would like to give some bit of caution and advice, and that is from the experience over cycles. Okay, we have seen that in the previous cycles also. Okay, retail getting excited based on the tip and what's happening around them, and just without any research or doing things, they just jump in. Okay, and the end result is not so pleasant. Okay, markets have grown, markets have become more mature. Okay, and I think if you want to do the DIY, do it yourself. Make sure you are doing enough research on the investments which you are doing. Okay. Don't make the same
kind
mistake.
of euphoria, Pankaj, do you think a lot of investors can make mistakes in this kind of euphoria and in this kind of market?
I am not saying go into the history. Go into the history of world stock markets. It always happens. It always happens that finally the retail is left with the lemon. Okay, and that's my biggest concern. The kind of euphoria I am seeing today is unprecedented. Okay, मतलब आप किसी भी घर में बात करो, आपका काम किया बोला शेयर बाजार का काम, मतलब बच्चे से लेके ऊपर तक हर आदमी शेयर बाजार में लगा हुआ है, right? And my only worry is that the short-term orientation of looking at the trading mentality will hurt them. Okay. Unless you have a long-term vision and you do it yourself with a proper rigorous research and other things, right? That's one thing. The second thing which I am talking about is disruption. I think world is going through a paradigm shift, Nadesh. Okay, and the disruption you will not even imagine. Nobody thought Nokia will vanish in next 3-4 years after iPhone, right? It happened, right? Can a normal retail investor visualize that disruption and take action to it? My answer probably will be no. Large number of people won't be able to visualize that disruption, right? I think the challenge is in multiples. The biggest challenge I am facing today as public market, as a professional investor, is that what is the terminal value challenge of that company after 8-10 years? That after 10 years, whether that company will exist in the sector with a market share which is today or not, or somebody will come from outside and just disrupt it. Can a normal retail investor look at that risk and price in that risk? My answer is no. And we have seen time and again, markets are smarter than anybody. If market senses a terminal value risk, वो जितना भी dividend yield दे दो, जितना भी आपको low P लगे, वो stock नहीं move होगा, because there's a terminal value challenge and there's some disruptor in that sector and there's a problem structurally. So my sense is that these are real challenges which we as professionals are facing. Forget about retail. So I would like to give a bit of caution कि भाई आप जब प्लेन में जाके बैठते हो, आपको गाड़ी चलानी आती है, लेकिन आप पायलट को थोड़ी बोलते हो यार मेरे को एरोप्लेन देखो, टेक ऑफ भी करूंगा, लैंडिंग भी करूंगा, हवा में भी घुमाऊंगा क्योंकि मेरे को गाड़ी चलाना आता है. So the point I am trying to say is that if you want to even do it yourself, do with a small quantity. Have a proper philosophy, do your proper research if you have the time. If you don't have, I think at a very low cost, people are doing a lot of service. So give it to the professionals, give it to the guys who understand. Probably over a longer period of time, they will add much more value. और ऐसा नहीं हो कि फिर आप कुछ लेके बैठ जाओ और जो आप कमाए वो 2-3 स्टॉक में पूरा निकल जाए. You know, so that's a word of caution. Mistakes are always made on the peak and the euphoria, you know, where people get carried away and get invested in lower quality stocks. So just a bit of caution there, but who can do it yourself? They're most welcome to do it themselves, but do it with proper research and diligence is my advice.
Sir, मेरा एक question हमेशा ये रहता है mind में कि see you manage a few thousand crores, right? I don't know the exact number, but a few thousand crores you're managing. But if we give you your 5 crore, your own 5 crore, 10 crore, what would you do with that?
Invest in my own funds.
Sorry?
Invest in my own funds, because
Invest in your
that's
own. But what would be your strategy? You know, like you get 5 crores right now. What will be your strategy at this stage of market, wherever we are right now?
so. My advice is that my horizon is slightly different from maybe the rest of your viewers or investors, right? I'm thinking India that the best is yet to come, right? Next 5 years, 10 years. I won't get carried away too much by the near-term volatility of it, right? So I would at every point of time keep on investing, because I think this is the best asset class from a longer term wealth creation perspective for people like salaried people like us, right?
Correct.
Rather than, I want multiplication of my money rather than linear growth of it. And that will only happen by two asset classes, which is equities and real estate to a certain extent. There's no other asset class, right? So my conviction on equities is extremely high compared to maybe the rest, because my horizon is extremely high. And statistical probability prove over time and again, as your horizon increases, the probability of making a negative return is extremely high. So my conviction again, and I'm saying the best of India is yet to come. Don't bet against India. Is my slightly a decade view that this decade could be the best decade we have seen in our lifetime.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pankaj sir. So I think Neil sir is back. So you're back?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm back. Sorry about this gap. Thank you, Pankaj Bhai, for filling in.
Thank you, sir.
So we really enjoyed, having interaction with Pankaj sir. It was really nice. So where were we, sir? I think we were into some question and then
On China.
Yes, sir. One question which I want to throw is that, all this India future and wealth creation will happen. We are doing this, but we see again and again that the retail investor, वो हमेशा end में ही रह जाता है, उसका return नहीं बन पाता है, right? वो ये सब हम जो भी बात कर रहे हैं वो सब सुनने में अच्छा है, और उसको करना क्यों इतना मुश्किल है retail investor के लिए? वो क्या करे at the end?
So Manish bhai, let me give you a story about my friend's father. And this is 70s and 80s. My friend is Marathi. And generally people say Gujarati, Marwari, Sher Bazaar to aapke khoon mein hai. But Marathis, they are not there. So I'm using that particular example to show that there's nothing like this ki Sher Bazaar is domain of one particular community or caste. This gentleman was working as a head clerk in a chartered accountancy firm in the 70s and 80s in Mumbai. Now, आपको पता होगा उन दिनों क्या पगार मिलता होगा. And because इनकी ऑफिस फ्लोरा फाउंटेन में थी, तो जो पार्टनर्स थे वो लोग सब स्टॉक मार्केट में ट्रेडिंग ऊपर नीचे करते रहते थे. And that was a physical world. आपको कॉन्ट्रैक्ट नोट लेना पड़ता था, देना पड़ता था, चेक देना पड़ता था, लेना पड़ता था, शेयर ट्रांसफर फॉर्म भरने पड़ते थे. And my friend's father was doing accounting for all of them. So he will see the contract notes, he will see how they are buying, selling. And उसके ऊपर से उसको पता चला कि कहाँ पे पैसा बनता है, कहाँ पे नहीं बनता. And very soon he realized that if you buy good quality companies and sit on it, it will make money for you. Now, mind you, in CA firm, head audit, head clerk gets far lower salary than the partners. The ratio is multiple times. My friend's father kept on buying odd lots in blue chip stocks. And उसी टाइम पे IPO भी निकले थे मल्टीनेशनल कंपनीज के, थैंक्स टू जॉर्ज फर्नांडिस. तो उसमें भी अप्लाई कर दिया, कोलगेट, प्रॉक्टर एंड गैम्बल. In mid-90s, he retired. His wealth was more than all the partners of that firm, who had more income, who had more knowledge, and yet they failed to make wise investment like my friend's father. His success ratio was almost 75%. That means 4 स्टॉक में सिर्फ 1 स्टॉक में वो पैसा खोता था, बाकी 3 स्टॉक में पैसा बनाता था. And he created wonderful portfolio for his son. So this incident taught me very early in life कि शेयर बाजार किसी कम्युनिटी का डोमेन नहीं है. यहाँ पे पैसा बनाने के लिए नॉलेज से ज्यादा विजडम की जरूरत है।
True.
यहाँ पे आपकी डिसिप्लिन एंड लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टमेंट आपके लिए पैसा बना के देता है, नॉट विथ हाउ मच मनी यू स्टार्ट। सो एनी रिटेल इन्वेस्टर हु इज regular investor, disciplined investor, long-term investor will make money in the market.
Okay. One of the questions we have got, I think one guy Deepak had asked, will the Indian economy grow more faster than the last 30 years? क्योंकि 1991 में लिबरलाइजेशन हुआ, अभी से 30 साल हो गए, अगला 30 साल उसके कंपैरिजन में कैसा लगता है? आज हम क्या वहीं खड़े हैं उसी जगह पे, इन अ वे काइंड ऑफ?
सो अगर 1990 से 2021 को देखे तो वी हैव एडेड रफली अबाउट $2.7 ट्रिलियन इन जीडीपी। नेक्स्ट 5-6 years we will have $2.7 ट्रिलियन। सो एक है रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ, एक है क्वांटम ऑफ ग्रोथ। तो पिछले 30 साल में हमने जितना कमाया उतना 5 साल में खड़ा कर देंगे ना। 5 का 4 साल होता है, 6 साल होता है, वो तो भगवान जाने। The second is the pace of growth, कि भाई आपकी साइज बड़ी है तो ऑब्वियसली आप बड़ा कर सकते हैं। I will put my money that if we take right decisions, then next 30 years growth rate of India will be far higher than what we witnessed in last 30 years. Last 30 years we were 2 steps forward, 1 step backward. 91 में लिबरलाइजेशन किया, 93 में छोड़ दिया, फिर कुछ किया, फिर छोड़ दिया। बट जो कंसिस्टेंटली एक्सीलरेटर पे पाँव लगा के आप ड्राइविंग करते रहो तो जो स्पीड आती है, दैट कैन कम इन नेक्स्ट 30 years if we take right decisions.
Okay. So even from returns point of view, हम same return जैसे सेंसेक्स में we say 14, 15, 16% बना है, वो do you see the same thing repeating?
So,
और
आप मनीष मेजरमेंट कहाँ से करते हैं? 91 में पंकज भाई विल रिमेम्बर 4,500 का सेंसेक्स था हर्षद मेहता के टाइम पे। वो एक्सपेंसिव मार्केट थी। एसीसी का पी रेशियो 100 का हो गया था या शायद उससे भी ज्यादा था। नाउ 4,500 के लेवल से काउंट करेंगे तो नेक्स्ट 30 years रिटर्न विल बी हायर देन व्हाट वी सॉ इन लास्ट 30 years। बट उसी समय पे मार्केट 2,800 भी हो गया था। अब आप 2,800 से मेजर करेंगे तो नेक्स्ट 30 years रिटर्न विल बी प्रोबेबली इक्वल टू व्हाट वी गॉट इन लास्ट 30 years। सेकेंड थिंग मनीष भाई, मोर इम्पोर्टेंट, पिछले 30 सालों में महंगाई का दर डबल डिजिट रहा है। तो आपको नॉमिनली से 15% मिला, बट महंगाई 10% थी, तो रियल तो 5% ही मिला। अब आने वाले 30 सालों में महंगाई का दर प्रोबेबली 4% रहेगा। अब आपको 10% रिटर्न मिले तो वो 15 के सामने कम दिखता है, बट रियल में 5 की जगह 6 मिल रहा है, विच इज फार बेटर। सो यू हैव टू लुक एट द रियल रिटर्न एंड नॉट नॉमिनल रिटर्न। My gut tells me the nominal return of next 30 years will be lower than last 30 years, and real return will be higher than last 30 years.
Okay. Great insight. Nandish, you want to ask any question?
You can continue, Manish.
Okay. And one of the question Nilesh bhai is asked is how much weightage you will give to discipline over choosing the correct investment, like right portfolio बनाना वो कितना जरूरी है, और डिसिप्लिन है ना, उसमें वेटेज अगर आप देंगे तो कैसा?
मनीष भाई, ये क्राउड में कितने लोगों ने HDFC बैंक खरीद के बेचा होगा, कितने लोगों ने सन फार्मा खरीद के बेचा होगा, कितने लोगों ने मारुति खरीद के बेचा होगा, कितने लोगों ने इंफोसिस खरीद के बेचा होगा। सो अच्छी कंपनी चूज करने में इनको किसी को मेरी या पंकज की जरूरत थोड़ी है, वो होल्ड करने में उन्हें हमारी जरूरत है।
करेक्ट।
I can tell you in my audience, everyone knows which is the good company. There is rarely a debate about it. The whole thing is that you are not able to own it for long. आज मतलब मेरे बहुत सारे कजिन ब्रदर्स है, उसने कम से कम 100 बार ट्रेडिंग कर दी HDFC बैंक में, यहाँ पे लिया, वहां पे बेचा, वहां पे लिया, यहाँ पे बेचा, all kinds of things they have done. But if they hold on to HDFC bank, they would have made far more return. So it is the discipline which makes sense. But if you remember, we had a spinner called Lakshman Sivram Krishna.
Nilesh bhai, can you talk? Sorry. Continue.
We had a prodigious spinner called Lakshman Sivram Krishna. His balls used to turn from left leg stump, from leg stump to off stump. But how many wickets he took? Versus we had Anil Kumble. Anil Kumble was all about discipline, discipline, discipline. एक ही जगह पे वो 10 बार बॉल डाल सकता था. Look at how many wickets he took. So it is not only the talent, it is the discipline which makes the difference.
Correct. Nilesh bhai, इस पे can you talk little bit about the noise around, because वो noise अभी 10 गुना हो गया है पिछले 10 साल में अगर आप देखें, और वो आप जो बोल रहे हो ना कि डिसिप्लिन रहो, वो बोलने में बहुत इजी है, बट वो क्या करे, आम इंसान क्या करे उसको इम्प्लीमेंट करने के लिए?
So let me ask Pankaj, because he as a fund manager has to hear all the noise. How does he manage?
So, I have always believed in life that in this world, which is of digital overload, information is commodity. Okay. Whatever information I have, a normal investor will read the same thing, stuff, and derive the same thing. I think the key to success over a longer term is your emotion quotient. How you behave during good and bad times is something which is very important. And I think that comes from over a time, maybe through a little bit of spirituality in markets. I think I'm not going into that field, but some bit of temperament, control, and knowing yourself,
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do KYC, but nobody wants to do KYS, which is know yourself first. Okay. And the biggest enemy of yourself is not somebody else, you yourself, because you don't know yourself. So first know yourself, what is your temperament, how much emotion quotient you hold, whether you have the reasonable stomach to digest the volatility or not. And if you know the right answers, probably you know which asset class to move in. I have seen time and again when the things are very hot, like right now, people who don't have the stomach to digest volatility, just because around the corner everybody is having stock market and share bazaar, idhar udhar, everybody wants to go into that momentum. One chip down, everybody wants to come out again. So I think KYS is more important than KYC. And in my view, if you can do some bit of spirituality anchoring in the markets by meditation, mindfulness, it will give you a good centering overall. And you will not get too carried away by extremely good times or extremely bad times. It will give you a good temperament over a longer periods of time. So I think this is the way to cut out noise. I may be sounding a little philosophical, but that has worked for me over longer periods of time, managing public money. And we are managing huge money as a fiduciary responsibility. So I need to make sure that I am balanced enough over a longer period of time. And I think if any investor practices that, I think he will find a huge change in their behavior. And I think emotion quotient is more than important than IQ, in my view, in the markets.
Okay. Thanks, Pankaj. Bhai, one more question I have is that most of the investors, they buy a lot of mutual funds. They have in their portfolio, they have 5, 10, 6 mutual fund, or they are building a stock portfolio. Why do they try to pick all the best players and not team? Like team पे वो focus नहीं करते, सब उनको best player ही चाहिए, सब अच्छे batsmen चाहिए, अच्छी team नहीं चाहिए किसी को. And वहां से वो best mutual fund या best stock, उसके पीछे लोग इतने पागल होते हैं कि टीम पूरी खराब कर देते हैं अपने. So can you just comment on that? Because for long term हम ये सब जो बातें कर रहे हैं कि अगले 10 साल 20 साल, इसमें ये बहुत ज्यादा important है ये point.
So, see, investors are driven by emotions. वो एक एडवर्टाइजमेंट थी, आपकी शर्ट मेरी शर्ट से सफेद कैसे?
Correct.
So when your neighbor is saying that I have made so much money, you feel left out.
Yeah.
Everyone wants their kids to be number 1 in school, but school में तो एक ही बच्चा number 1 हो सकता है.
True.
Everyone wants their stock, their mutual funds to deliver top-notch return. But top पे तो एक ही mutual fund आ सकता है.
True.
And performance तो एक cycle की तरह है, कभी कोई ऊपर कभी कोई नीचे. So this whole desire of being in the best performing is what is forcing people to make mistake.
Yes.
I will always recommend everyone that you imagine yourself in a train. आपको मुंबई से पूना जाना है, आप बैठ गए ट्रेन में, नाउ वीटी से ट्रेन निकलेगी, इनफैक्ट वीटी प्लेटफॉर्म के आपकी ट्रेन खड़ी होगी डेक्कन, और लोकल ट्रेन धनाधन आगे जा रही होगी. So you don't jump from your Deccan to get into Ambernath local or Kalyan local or Thana local. तो फिर आप पुणे कभी पहुंच ही नहीं पाओगे. इन बिटवीन भी जब गाड़ी जा रही है तो कई बार फास्ट लोकल ट्रेन आपसे आगे चली जाएगी, कोई दूसरी ट्रेन आपसे आगे चली जाएगी. You don't jump. You know, I have bought the ticket of Mumbai to Pune, and Deccan will help me reach there. You stay on it. You don't jump around it. The same thing you have to do in your mutual fund. If you have picked up right mutual fund, stay invested in it. कभी कोई 1% रिटर्न ज्यादा देगा, 1% कम देगा, it doesn't matter. You will still reach Pune, maybe half an hour early, half an hour late. How does it matter? Reaching Pune is critical rather than reaching Pune half an hour early or late.
Correct, correct.
And अपने यहाँ पे तो उल्टा होता है मनीष भाई, लोग है ना ट्रेन से जंप मार के गलत ट्रेन में बैठ के वापस वीटी पे पहुंच जाते हैं और फिर बोलते हैं अरे मैं वीटी आ गया, मुझे तो पुणे जाना था.
Correct, correct, correct. Yes.
And actually it's not VT, it is CSMT. So my mistake. I am old generation Mumbaikar. तो अभी भी VT जाता नहीं है, but it is now CSMT.
Okay. Very good example. One more question which is asked by a person called Alok is that some people advocate concentrated portfolio where if you win, you win very, very big, right? Whereas others advocate diversification. So can you comment on that part also from wealth creation point of view next?
So आपने सौरव गांगुली को देखा है क्रिकेट खेलते हुए? He is महाराजा of left side. Left side में आप 11 फील्डर रख दो, वहां से भी वो चौका छक्का मार देगा. Now in the initial days, Saurav Ganguly used to play only on left. That was his natural side. वहां पे तो वो महाराजा था. But did he continue playing only on left side? Answer is no. As bowlers realize that Saurav Ganguly is king of left side, they never started bowling him on left side. They were bowling in bouncer, short pitch on his right hand side. Now Saurav Ganguly had to develop his right hand side. It was not his natural side. कई बार वो मतलब जब राइट हैंड साइड पे बॉल फेस करता था, ऑफ साइड पे बॉल फेस करता था, इट वाज ऑकवर्ड. on side he was king, on off side he was not, but he developed those armories, he developed those techniques to face this ball, and that's why he became a better cricketer. So you have to figure out what is good for you. If you can bear the pain of concentrated portfolio, go ahead for it. If you don't bear the volatility, then go for diversified portfolio. There is no one path to nirvana. आप अलग अलग रास्ते से निर्वाणा कर सकते हैं. किसी के लिए concentrated portfolio सही है, किसी के लिए diversified portfolio सही है.
Correct. Okay. One more question is asked is that have big companies like Pidilite या Asian Paints, will they become even more bigger? क्योंकि जब छोटी कंपनी बड़ी बन जाती है लार्ज कैप, तो फिर ऐसा लगता है इसका टाइम अभी चला गया, ये तो इतनी बड़ी हो गई. अभी आने वाले टाइम में ये और भी क्या 20, 30, 40, 50 गुना हो सकते हैं, और because a human mind can't visualize that.
Pankaj bhai, you want to take that question?
So without naming companies, the first thing when I spoke about is the big theme of big getting bigger, strong getting strong, right? And that is in front of our eyes happening. And if you look at paint sector, adhesive sector, there are 4-5 large guys who are there, and they are the dadas. If you believe that in India housing will grow, people will repaint their houses, they will diversify into good businesses over a period of time, good management, I think the opportunity is not a constraint. The opportunity is not that unlike West, we are growing at 1.5%, 2%. The opportunity is that we are growing at 5, 6, 7%. How many companies can grow at double the rate of that real GDP growth, or 2.5 times of that? And I think if we can find those companies, I think size will not be a problem, and they will be compounding stories. But what we need to also understand that valuations also play a very important role. We have seen in the IT crash in 2000 that it took 10, 12 years for those companies to come back to that market cap again, because people were subscribing crazy multiples, despite of they growing their profit every year, even after 2000, 2001. So the only caution I would like to say is that don't get blindfolded by the companies that they are excellent. Also know at what price you are buying. because price is something real which you are paying for a company. And if you buy at something very exorbitantly high pricing, the risk is that you may not lose your capital permanently, but the capital may be dead for a few years, may not give you any returns. So that's one bit of caution when you're buying great companies, that keep it.
Okay. And we are talking about you, Pankaj, you said don't bet against India. So pointing to that, what is the role of global diversification in that? Like, it's fine that we don't bet against India, but what part of our portfolio can be into international market? How much?
I think Nilesh Bhai will answer that.
Why or why not? Yeah, because
Yeah.
we have seen in the last 1 or 2 years, a lot of AMCs have launched global funds. Even Kotak has done that. So what is your view on that? Because that is a hot topic right now.
In fact, Manish, a lot of investors, they get confused now ki if they are not putting money into US market, then they are missing out on something. So I think सारी AMCs कुछ ना कुछ सिखा देती है और फिर वो confuse और हो जाता है.
So we are a buffet house. We manufacture various dish for the palate of consumer.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that consumer should taste all my dishes. He or she should take only those dishes which suits his appetite. मैं तो वेजिटेरियन और नॉन वेजिटेरियन दोनों डिश बनाऊंगा, जैन और नॉन जैन दोनों डिश बनाऊंगा. बट अगर आप जैन है तो आपको मेरी आलू सब्जी खाने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. Number 2, why do you need offshore fund? Now, Manish bhai, lot of us wants to send our kids abroad for study. Imagine मैं अपनी बेटी को जाके बोलूंगा कि बेटा ₹75 to $1 है तो तेरे को बाहर भेजूंगा, अगर 100 to $1 होगा तो नहीं भेजूंगा. Do I want my kids' education to be hostage to rupee movement? Answer is no. I need to create dollar assets so that I can fund my daughter's education abroad. Number 2, today 100% of our wealth is invested in India. Bearing gold, which has a global linkage, everything else is only India risk. And in gold also physical storage in India, so it is India risk to some extent. Now, Afghanistan में अगर आपके पास gold है तो कोई उसका फायदा नहीं है, because जब आप निकलेंगे तो वैसे ही भागेंगे. Now, should you diversify some portion of your money abroad? Answer is yes. कल को उठ के इंडिया चाइना, इंडिया पाकिस्तान या इंडिया पाकिस्तान चाइना वॉर हो गया तो अपनी मार्केट तो गिरेगी. We need to create a diversification in offshore assets to diversify our India risk. And these are minor reasons, but the biggest reason why you should invest offshore is that it gives you opportunity to invest in certain businesses which are not present in India. Now, Manish bhai, आप Netflix पे movie देखते होंगे, रोज serial देखते होंगे, but you can't own Netflix in India. उसके लिए तो बाहर ही पैसा भेजना पड़ेगा. मैं Amazon से खरीदता हूँ माल, but I can not own Amazon in India. I have to go abroad. मैं Visa Mastercard use करता हूँ, मेरे खर्चे से उनकी कंपनी चलती है, but I can't own Visa and Mastercard in India. I have to go abroad. So it gives me exposure to businesses which are not present in India, and it allows me to become an owner of a company from consumer. That's why we should invest offshore. So you should invest offshore for diversification, for your dollar expenditure, and for taking exposure to businesses which are not present in India.
Okay. If you want to ask one of the questions.
No, I think Manish, we are done. We are over time now. It's
okay.
1:40.
So let's conclude this. Can we? So I'll just conclude this with one last question to Nilesh sir, that a lot of young investors are entering into equity market. We have seen like so many demat accounts being opened and a lot of people are entering mutual funds. What will be you telling those young investors what they should not do, or what will they regret if they are not in the equity markets? Like, what your suggestion? Last, this is a concluding remark.
So many years back, I had gone to Jolly Gymkhana, which is a place in Ghatkopar, and Ghatkopar is a place where their contribution to stock market volume is more than the state of Uttar Pradesh. There is one building in Ghatkopar where the volumes of stock market is as good as some cities.
Okay.
Now, वैसे ही lecture दे रहा था. Now, one 80-year-old gentleman, when Q&A started, got up and said, stock market is gamble. I told everyone not to invest in stock market. So I said, sir, what is your question? He kept on rambling that stock market is gambler and what you are saying is not right. So since there was no question, I ignored him and moved on. Later on, his son came and said, Nilesh, I'm sorry, my father, argued like this. So I said, yeah, it was quite unnatural of him. If he was not interested in stock market, then why should he have come to attend my lecture? So I said, Nilesh, aisa kuch nahi hai. We stay in Ghatkopar. Now, a lot of our neighbors invested in stock market and made money. They have prospered in life, moved up. हम लोग वहीं रह गए because we never invested in stock market, as my father thought stock market is gamble. Now, instead of blaming himself for missing the opportunities, he wants to blame others for taking opportunities. And he's convincing in his mind that stock market is gambler. ये तो जुआ करके पैसा बना रहा है. मैं कितना शरीफ हूँ, मैंने नहीं बनाया ऐसा. Now, I told his son that you should not make mistake of your father. Otherwise, it will not be fair. So to all the young investors, I will say, making money is very, very serious thing. If it was easy, all of us would have become billionaire. But it is tough. It is very, very tough. And that's why few people become billionaire. Follow the discipline of regular investment, long-term investment, and disciplined investment so that wealth creation can happen and you attain financial independence.
Okay. Nandish, you can now make the conclusion.
These are like golden advice. And I am sure like whoever is listening or watching this session will implement it, because I think the real juice is in implementation. The real magic is in implementation.
True.
So thank you so much, Nilesh sir and Pankaj sir and the entire Kotak team. Thank you so much.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.